Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland, and here I am in front of Kensington Palace. You can see the statue of Queen Victoria behind me, and indeed she was born in that palace. Her father was Prince Edward, one of the youngest sons of King George III, and her mother was also named Victoria, a German princess from the House of Saxe-Coburg-Meiningen. Anyway, when Queen Victoria was a baby, she was a princess, her father died, and she was an only child. So she grew up here, as I was saying, brought up under the Kensington system, as it was called. It's a very rigid means of child rearing. Her first language was German, and apparently her English was never quite perfect. There was some first language interference in her English right to the end of her life. And the man who was in charge of her was Sir John Conroy, who was running her mother's household. He was an Irishman, former army officer, and some people thought he was having a romantic liaison with Queen Victoria's mother, though he was married himself, and he had a daughter also named Victoria. Complicated, I know. Then Queen Victoria had a German governess called Louisa Lesen, who was the daughter of a Lutheran pastor and very erudite, partly because her father was a clergyman, who came here to bring her up. And Sir John Conroy was jealous of her and started rumours of her unchastity, which were untrue. Anyway, only as an adolescent did Queen Victoria develop a greater degree of independence here. And then in 1837, her uncle, King George IV, died, and she ascended to the throne, and she pretty soon put John Conroy out to grass, who'd been bullied her into signing things that she shouldn't and giving him too much control. Kensington Palace was not in good shape in those days, and these servants were pilfering everything. They used tallow candles, which gave off quite an odour, and the department in charge of cleaning the outside of the windows was different from the department in charge of cleaning the inside of the windows. And so the windows were seldom clean on both sides at the same time. Well, she later put a stop to that, and certainly well into her reign the royal household was very well run. So this was one of the principal royal residences back then. The royal family had owned Buckingham Palace since 1760, Buckingham House as it was originally. Buckingham Palace does not look like it does now until about 1910, by which time it had become one of the principal royal residences. So Kensington Palace here dates back to the 17th century, and William III, when he came over from the Netherlands, he made this his main residence. And this was a village just a few miles west of London. Anyway, it's open to the public now, and various of the Queen's cousins have apartments in there, such as Prince Michael of Kent and his elder brother, the Duke of Kent, obviously Prince William and his wife, the Duchess of the Duchess of Cambridge is in there, indeed Prince Harry and his good wife, the Duchess of Sussex, and so forth. So you can't see the bits that are open to them. So here we are, Kensington Gardens, which is at the west end of Hyde Park. This is a royal park, so no protests are allowed in here. There are red roads to show these are royal roads. That is the round pond, which is man-made, and then you can see the rest of Hyde Park behind me, the London skyline. So that's that, and behind Kensington Palace is Palace Green, where there are various embassies and the residences of various ambassadors, the Indian High Commissioner and so forth. Well worth going inside and having a tour here in Kensington Palace. It's not enormous, and it's somewhat opulent, a little bit understated at times, but certainly very historic, a more human scale palace.